Good evening, guys, and happy Tuesday to all of our sunshiny faces. I sort of forgot that it was Tuesday today. Forgot to clean the bathroom. So I'm kicking myself right now because my plan was to try and get all of the what's it called, those freezer meals cooked tomorrow. I've got a bunch to get done, and so like I was saying, my plan was to actually do that tomorrow, but now I'm going to have to try and cram that in with cleaning the bathroom, which is not going to be fun. So, anyways, though, I was able to still get a bunch done on my list, my planner list for today. Edited and uploaded, did dishes and laundry. I actually sort of got to like 2 loads of dishes today, which was nice. So I did that, but I also ended up getting my grocery list pretty much done for the most part. I always like go over my grocery list. I try to at least on Tuesday and then finalize it like on Wednesday, just because the sales, the coupons, all that kind of stuff don't go live until Wednesday for pretty much all the grocery stores, like other than Meijer and Walgreens, because their sales start on Sunday, and then the other stores start on Wednesday. But like Jewel, I get the ad, you know, like delivered to me in the mail on Tuesday, so I can see what the sales are going to be, but like some of the coupons that might be available and things like that, I can't see those, or sometimes some of the unadvertised deals, or you know, just like other things like that too. And I can't add the like coupons to my list until Wednesday anyway, so that's why I have to wait until then. So I'm going to, like I said, add that though on Wednesday, and finish that. But I was able to sort of just look over the ad, look at what stuff's going to be on sale, add, you know, like, you know, just again know what I plan on doing and everything like that. Funny though, because yesterday I actually woke up later than I did today, and yet I felt so much more productive yesterday than I did today, and like I don't really know why. Like I was still able to get a movie in yesterday. I ended up watching, well, I guess I sort of watched a movie today too. I actually ended up watching, I didn't know that, what's it called, what streaming service is that, Peacock. They actually had some of the Alfred Hitchcock movies, and they had Rear Window on there, and I stinking loved that movie. That was one of the first movies where I think I watched it with my grandma. She rented it from the library, and like my grandma, I think, like if she ever, maybe she came across it randomly and was like, oh, I think that the kids would really like this movie, because it wasn't, you know, like graphic or anything like that, but it was like a good murder mystery sort of thing. And, you know, again, it was like a good story, and I'll get into the whole cinematography part though in a second. But like, I think that she, like I said, came across it, or maybe she had really wanted to watch it or something like that. And so she decided to rent it for us from the library and came back, like I said, and we ended up watching it. And at first I was totally like, no, Grandma, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch an old movie. Like, some of the only old movies, like, you know, again, I don't really know how old I was. I had to have been maybe around 10 years old, you know, something like that, maybe 12. Probably no older than like 13. I don't think I was in really like middle school yet at that point, or maybe I just barely was or something. But like I said, she ended up renting it, I think one summer or something. And again, I was sort of like, no, I'd rather do my own thing than like watch this old movie, you know, like it's not gonna be good. And my only real like experience with old movies at the time, I think, was White Christmas. And while I've rewatched it now, it's actually funny because we rewatched it this year, and I think we watched it last year too, but I was sort of like in and out. Maybe I was doing Christmas cookies, I don't know. I don't really remember sitting down and watching it. This year I know I did, and I was like, I'm gonna really sit down and really try and understand what's going on, because again, I've seen White Christmas is my mom's favorite movie, like favorite Christmas movie, and I think favorite like old movie maybe just in general too. But she ended up like, we'd watch it almost every single year, and like as a kid I was like, this is so boring, like I am just over watching this movie. Like I never liked sitting down and watching it. And I think that again, I had sort of more as an adult that bias of like, I didn't like the movie because I just found it always very boring, to as a kid sitting through it and watching it. And so like I said, that was like one of the only real experience, like I said, that I had that was like with an older movie. that again, like I had watched that wasn't, again, like definitely a kid's movie. And so finally this year watching White Christmas, I was actually like, oh my gosh, like I finally sort of understand the movie. But I think too, it's just a very long movie on top of that, where I'm like, I can't really like get into watching this or anything like that, you know, like it's just like by the time like I've been sitting through it for that long, I'm like, okay, this is just starting to like, you know, I'm just, I don't know, like again, can't sit through it for that long. And it's funny because I'm normally pretty good at sitting through movies. Like I don't get super distracted or super like, I just don't want to watch this or whatever. But again, there's some points where I'm just like, you know, okay, I'm starting to get bored. And I feel like it's just one of those, like it's a really long movie, and sometimes it just seems like it goes on for a little while, a little too long. So like I said, rewatching it though this year, I actually again have, I think, a new appreciation for it. It's just like sometimes I never really, especially the beginning, the very beginning of the movie, I think I never paid attention to, so a lot of times that ended up screwing me up for the entire thing. And then again too, I'm trying to piece things together by the end of the movie, and then that's why I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just going on for too long. Who's that person? Who's that person? Like, you know, I'm just like, I didn't connect the early things that were going on at the beginning of the movie with like what ends up happening later on when I'm actually starting to like pay attention more, if that makes sense. Especially again when I was younger. And so like I said, rewatching it this year, I think I have a new appreciation for it. And definitely for old movies too, like I realized, like I said, when my grandma ended up bringing home the Rear Window, and we ended up watching that, and for some reason that's like the first experience I had and really opened my eyes to like old movies, and I actually really liked and enjoyed watching them. The cinematography in that movie, like to this day, I feel like is still probably one of my favorites. And again, I hadn't seen it since, like I said, I was probably 10, 12 years old, something, you know, along those lines. Like it's been a long time since I watched it, well over 10 years. And so, you know, again, seeing it and just like the, like I said, the vivid like imagery and the, you know, just the, you know, like I said, the cinematography, how everything's like done, you know, just like from looking out a window, I just think that it's so cool and just so like, I don't, ingenious in the way that it was done, that again, I feel like, you know, especially for the limitations of the time of the movie, was so, I feel like, I don't want to say revolutionary, but just like, you couldn't do something like that now, because I feel like people would just be like, this is boring. Like, you know, again, like we're expecting big explosions and all this kind of stuff and crazy things to be happening, but like it's just so like there's something to look at, there's something to watch, there's something going on. And again, I just loved, I don't know why, that was just like the first experience I ever had with the really like old movies, and finally decided like that I liked them at that point. And it was that movie that my grandma ended up bringing home that I watched and was like, I loved this. So again, I had, like I said, some other experience probably with old movies, but I never really paid attention or watched them that much. Like I'd seen Alfred Hitchcock Birds, that movie too. I remember we watched it around like Halloween time one year because I think it was on or something like that. But that was another one of those, like, I actually really liked that movie. Matthew and Jack cannot stand it. I think they don't like movies that are in black and white, and I have to agree, I'm not a huge fan. Like I really like color. I think it keeps me engaged a little bit in, you know, the movie or whatever. But there's certain movies that again, like they aren't remastered and they're not in color and stuff like that, and so you can't like I said, watch or experience them that way. So you do have to pay attention a lot more to really the story, because the color's not going to be there to, like I said, keep you sort of engaged. And so but again, especially lately, for some reason old movies have been one of my like favorite things to watch recently, which is really cool, I guess. But I feel like it was that movie and watching it with my grandma that I feel like really first sort of like inspired me, and again made me realize too just like how movies can tell a whole story. And again, from sort of the limited aspect of that cinematography of the time, but also too, like I said, just sort of how revolutionary it was, like the actual camera lens that's being used, the actual photography camera that's in the movie, it being used as, you know, actually like what you're seeing, and the story that it's telling through you seeing it through that lens as well is really cool. And like I said, I think some of those things were sort of, again, not used very much, and I feel like actually Alfred Hitchcock's movies were very revolutionary in, you know, like I said, a lot of that aspect of storytelling and stuff like that. I think it was a really big pioneer for a lot of, not just like horror genre or anything like that, but I think just cinematography in general. And again, I think that that was one of my favorite things. I loved how that story was like told from the cinematography aspect of the whole thing. I think that it was just so cool. And so, you know, and just like very, I think, well done. And like I said, it kept me engaged. Again, when I was sort of, again, probably I had plenty of other better things to do probably that summer than sit there and watch that movie with her, but I would have never experienced it, and I loved that movie so much. And I honestly think, because I was talking to Matthew about it too, I actually don't think that he ended up watching it, because I was like, you remember watching that, right, like that summer? And I think he didn't end up watching it. Like, I think it was just me and her. And so but that was sort of my grandma. She would just a lot of times wind up like going and like getting something. Like, I remember she ended up going to walk to one of our gas stations. She ended up going and picking up like one of the Starbucks Frappuccinos, like in the bottle, and she ended up coming back home and she was like, Kayla, I don't know if I'm gonna drink this whole thing, do you want some of it? But it was like, you know, like, or she offered it to me or something like that. She's like, but can I have a little bit of it? Like, it was one of those things where, like, you know, she wanted to drink it, or she wanted to watch a movie or something like that, and so she would, like, you know, like, get the ball sort of rolling, but then sort of be like, oh, do you want to do this too? Even though it was something that she really wanted to do. Like, again, she probably wanted to watch the movie and was just like, oh, you know, like, it'd be fun for us to do it together. But like, she would never come out and directly say that. She'd just sort of like, again, sort of be in the background and then be like, oh, look at what I rented from the library, you know, like, maybe we could watch this. And then I'd be like, okay, you know, like, sort of just like, you know, just decided to watch it. But you know, like I said, I actually am very happy that I did, because it was one of those things that I felt like I actually like introduced me maybe more and opened my eyes, I think, to how cool. And again, like, too, I feel like a lot of times we end up watching movies and we don't appreciate all of the small details. And again, especially looking at it as like the time, you know, like when that movie was done and how well the storytelling was done, how practically the entire story is told from one room, and then you get to see out into the courtyard of all the other people and lives going on and stuff like that. I just think that that is so beyond cool, and, you know, like, just a very interesting, fun way to tell a story. And it's a whole murder mystery thing, which is so cool. So, you know, like I said, that was just one of those movies that I really have a very big appreciation for. But like I was saying too, the whole thing with, you know, film and all that kind of stuff in general, there's a lot of that. I think too, I watched a whole documentary actually about Star Wars, and, you know, just how difficult it was to make that movie. And again, all of the costumes and all of the building of like the ships and the costumes and all that kind of stuff was just a lot, you know. And now today we're just like, oh, we'll just, you know, CGI it, or, you know, whatever. And you know, we use green screens and all that kind of stuff, and it's a lot, I don't want to say it's easier, but it's a lot less hands-on now, you know, where you don't have to like physically be doing things or using things and that kind of stuff, because again, we can just sort of add in, you know, whatever we want. Oh, we want a bit of explosion in the background. Well, we don't have to, you know, fake it. We can just have a, you know, actual you know, CGI explosion in the background, instead of having to come up with some creative way to make it look like there's one that's actually, you know, in the background or whatever. So like I said, I think that's a big thing now, that, like, you know, things that happened so long ago we take for granted, I think, and we don't appreciate it too. And a lot of times not all that stuff ages very well. Like, I watched Children of the Corn, the explosion in that one, horrible. And there was one, I think, in the movie from yesterday too, and that didn't age too well. Like, you could definitely tell it was totally faked. But again, like, you know, a lot of that storytelling had to be done differently because we didn't have the kind of technology, you know, there's not the same technology that there is now. And so that's one of those things that, like, I appreciate good storytelling, especially back when we didn't have, you know, like the option to have a CGI something or other in the background or whatever. So, you know, not that that isn't still difficult and there's not a lot that goes into that, but it's just, we can make anything up that we want to now, and it was a lot harder back then. And again, storytelling, all that kind of stuff. So that's why, like, you know, I have a definite appreciation for that. I really like, you know, set building, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot that goes into that that was taken a lot more seriously, I think, because now we can just be like, oh, like, we can't do the whole thing, you know, we'll just, like, you know, green screen in some part of that or whatever. And so I really feel like I do have that one, like I said, summer day or whenever it was, you know, my grandma ended up randomly renting that movie to really have that appreciation. You know, I think it opened my eyes, though. That was just sort of like the starting point that sort of made me realize, like, how much I really like, again, good film and good cinematography, set building, storytelling, all that kind of stuff that really goes into a movie that's really good. I really do have my grandma to thank for that. So anyways, I am going to take a shower and get to bed. I will see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny pieces tomorrow. So bye, guys.